Yeah! Get excited, everybody. Yes! It's a pay-per-view fight night, ladies and gentlemen. We are around 40 minutes away, a little less, from the kickoff of UFC 301. The UFC back in Rio de Janeiro, Brazil. The flyweight title is on the line in the main event. Alexandre Pantoja defends against Steve Vinny Siggs Erceg. We got the King of Rio, Jose Aldo, back after over 600 days on the MMA shelf, taking on Jonathan Martinez. And I know what you're all thinking. This card isn't that great. And when it comes to stakes and storylines and name value, you're probably right. However, I do think this is going to be a fun event. And we're here to talk about and answer your questions about it right now here on the People's Pre-Fight Show. I am Mike Heck, being joined by two people. First, let's introduce the co-host, essentially, of all of these programs, the chair-swinging fool that is Mr. 3024, the undefeated producer extraordinaire, the baddest stash at MMA, Casey Leydon. Let's see how many chair spins we're getting here. Basically, he torso twisted a half a time.
Yeah.
How dare you? What's up, buddy?
Doing great. Excited to be here and excited for this pay-per-view.
Yes. And speaking of pay-per-view, speaking of just beasts, what an honor and a privilege it is to be joined by the Brazilian Beast, who is in Rio, backstage in the media room right now. You're not getting this kind of thing anywhere else, ladies and gentlemen. The one, the only, Dana White's favorite journalist, Guilherme Cruz. Guilherme, how we doing, my man?
I'm doing well. I'm doing fine. Thank you. Just a pleasure to be here. Good night to you all. Good night, Dana. It's going to be a fun night. I agree with you. Maybe on paper it's not the best event, but the best card, but it's going to be fun. There are a lot of fun matchups here.
Yes. Let me ask you this, Guilherme, before we get to the peeps. Yeah. How would you describe, what's the vibe check in Rio right now? Are people excited? Are the fans ready to come out in droves? I believe there's a Madonna concert tonight, so maybe there's a lot of focus on that. But what are the vibes? Are people excited for this?
Yeah, there's just Madonna chick that's playing somewhere at the Copacabana beach. And some people know that the UFC is going on in Rio. But Madonna is taking all the attention as it should. So there are a lot of people, there are a lot of friends of mine that had no idea the UFC was doing an event tonight. But yeah, yesterday at the ceremonial weigh-ins, there were a lot of fans. It was electric. Fans were excited. Like, it's been like 14 months since the last time the UFC came to Rio, and so it's always a good event. I don't know if it's going to be sold out or not. We don't have that answer yet. But I don't know if Madonna's if the UFC is not gonna be a sellout because of Madonna, because I don't know if it's the same audience, but yeah.
Hey.
The UFC did a lot of things to yeah. Sorry.
Yeah.
But yeah, Madonna is a star, but not in Brazil. I think the MMA fans in Brazil are not the type of people that would go to a Madonna concert, you know.
Yeah, I think it's isn't it a free show?
Yes, it's for free at the beach. It's gonna be like millions of people there. It's gonna be a lot of people.
Man.
How many people?
Right.
Yeah.
How many are they expecting?
I don't know if there's an official prediction, but I would guess more than 1 million people there. Easy.
Wow.
Easy. Yeah.
Oh my goodness! Wow.
That's wild, man.
Yeah.
That's wild. All right. Well, I mean, look, if you have questions about Madonna's free concert or UFC 301, let's go. That's what the show is all about. We're here to answer questions until the fights begin, and you gentlemen can keep track of that, since I don't have track of that while we're doing this program while I'm here in New York City. So let's go. Let's see what Pete's got.
Yeah,
I
I just got the answer. The city of Rio is expecting 1.5 million people there.
Jesus.
1.5 million people.
Yes.
Dude, that is insane. That is, we're like 1 million. Oh my God, it's crazy. No, add extra 500,000 to that.
Yeah.
Jeez,
man, all the way May from League of Their Own, just getting after it, still doing the damn thing. Let's go.
All right. Okay. Jeez. So wait, so if there's Madonna concert in one corner and there's a fight on one corner, where are you gonna go? Is that Dana's?
Ken is going to tell us that Ken's going to ignore Madonna and start watching the
Yeah.
fight.
There you go.
And there's going to be a lot of fights in the crowd. A lot
Yeah,
of fights.
sure. All right. All right, let's go to the questions. Get our super chats in. Here we go.
Love you, super chatters. Last stand. Will this be a winning night for the Brazilian fighters or a losing one? Now, Guilherme, there's a Brazilian competing in every single fight. We lost one, so now we're down to 13. There's the lineup right there.
Yes.
Do you feel that this will be, at the end of the day, a winning night for the Brazilian fighters or a losing night for the Brazilian fighters?
I think it's going to be a winning night for the Brazilians. There are a lot of matchups that are in easy ones, but I am expecting to go 5-0 on the main card. Yes, I'm picking Jose Aldo to beat Martinez. I think the real fight, it's gonna be extra fuel, like Jose Aldo in his career on a big note. So I think it's gonna be 5-0 on the main card, and I expect a few losses on the prelims, but in the end, I think it's gonna be a winning night for the Brazilians.
Agree, Casey?
Ooh, I'm gonna go for the main card. Oh, yeah. I think they'll get 3 out of 5 on the main card. But I think the top two, I think the Brazilians will win the top 2. I think the Brazilian fans will leave happy with the top 2 fights at least winning. That's right. Brazilian.
So who do you think loses? Michel Pereira, Caio Borralho, or Vitor Petrino?
I'm gonna go Kyle. How do you say his name? Sorry.
Caio
Borralho.
Caio Borralho.
Caio Borralho.
Caio, yeah, him. And Petrino.
I'm going to teach you all how to pronounce all of the Brazilian names tonight.
Okay. Caio
Borralho.
We should have done this off camera.
I think it's gonna be a winning night for the Brazilians. Just based on my MMA fighting stat picks, I got the Brazilians going 9-4. Of course, I'm going along with the vibes gimmick for young Stevie Vincenzo Erceg. I'm even going to be dressed in the watch party like somewhat like Vinny Sig's dressed for his first face-off at Sugarloaf with Pantoja, with just a plain Jane blue polo and a pair of gray shorts, just like Stevie Erceg would like. I don't know. Look, everything on paper tells me Pantoja's going to win. He probably is, but it would just be kind of I don't think it's funny. It would just be super interesting if Steve wins. Like, what this does for him, because I feel like he's become this sort of darling all week. People have just in such a different way than most fighters get over. Like the way like the Sean Stricklands and the Connors have all gotten over with like brash trash talk and just saying a bunch of things. Steve Erceg is like literally the complete opposite of all of those people, like to the 900th degree. And if he wins in the UFC heading to Perth in August, if he's the co-main event, like, and he goes out and defends the belt, where does that put him? Like, what kind of star can he become? Like, I don't think he's going to be a million pay-per-view buy kind of a guy, but I think he will be sort of like an underground favorite of the fight community. So I am intrigued to see what a Steve Erceg title reign would look like, especially doing it less than a year into the UFC, which would be absolutely insane. So, although I think Pantoja, like, in reality will win, but it would be kind of funny.
So, like, what the medium
looks like
mail?
Ooh.
Is the contact.
It's good stuff.
Nice. This
Looks good.
High res. I like this.
You don't get this on any other pre-fight show, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah. You don't get this kind of stuff.
Wow. Oh, what is that?
The dessert, yeah. Just waiting for me there.
Just waiting.
And this guy sitting right here is Gustavo.
Hello, Gustavo.
Account is Vai Morrer. He's the Vai Morrer guy. Yeah, he's the star here.
Oh, okay. All right. But thank you, Last Stand.
All right, thank you very
always
much.
appreciate. Always
All
appreciate
right.
you, my man.
Got another super chat from our good friend Lazybed.
Lazy Bad, choose one fighter who will quote unquote run this town tonight. Gee. I mean, is this the lock of the night, or is this just, or is
It's gonna
this
be the
just like
star.
setting us up to all say Jose Aldo?
Yeah.
Will he get he'll get the biggest pop tonight, right? Walking out, everything.
Yeah, and
Just-
I think he's gonna be the red corner. Like the last one to
Oh.
walk out, because yesterday John Martinez, even though he's higher ranked than Jose Aldo, Jose Aldo isn't ranked, but Martinez came out first on the ceremonial weigh-ins. I was surprised at that. So,
I mean,
yeah,
it's cooler that way.
It's gonna be loud when Jose walks out tonight. It's gonna be loud.
Yeah. And when Aldo lost to Marab, I mean, we still had him. I mean, if he didn't retire, we would have still had him ranked in the top 10. I think at least. I mean,
Yes.
maybe
You've been
top
in top
5.
five.
Yeah. I mean, I'm
In the
top
top five,
5. Yeah. Yeah. So
He beat Marlon Vera, Rob Font, and Pedro Munoz.
Yeah.
It's like 3 wins in a row against those guys, and then lost a boring decision. Merab just hugging him, like
yeah.
not like he got knocked out on.
Yeah, and I get that argument, like that Jez has that Aldo won that fight, which I'm not. I did pick Marab winning that fight, like my own card, but yeah, it was kind of a throwaway fight. Like no one, you saw it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So outside of ring rust, I mean, this should be the same Aldo, and Aldo has. We assume he's been training. He had a boxing match, so yeah, should be interesting.
Who's gonna run? Who's gonna run the town though? Who's the guy? Is it Jose?
I mean, if he wins, it's Jose Aldo 100%. It's gonna be
100%.
100%.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Michel
Is the
Pereira.
question asking what I think is a lock to win, or if he wins is the beginning?
Yeah, I think it's probably.
I don't know if Jose Aldo is a lock to win.
No, he's the underdog in the fight. So
Yeah. I think
I think Michel Pereira is going to get super over tonight if he just annihilates Ihor Potieria after what Ihor did to Shogun. I think that'll go over pretty big. So, and I think he will probably get a quick finish in that fight.
If he wins, it's exciting.
Yeah,
So it's gonna be fun.
hell yeah.
How do you think can Pantoja grab a little bit of that Aldo star power tonight if he has a big win, or is he just kind of okay?
I think so because he's from Rio. Like, imagine just scenario: just Jose Aldo wins and Pantoja walks out and chokes out Erceg in 3 minutes. It's gonna be insane. Like, crowd's gonna be like all fired up because of Jose Aldo, and then Pantoja just annihilates him. So he's definitely getting that feeling from the arena as well.
Yeah.
But let me ask you this, because this has been something we've been kind of debating. If Aldo goes out and beats Jonathan Martinez and has the big moment and everyone goes crazy for him, but Pantoja loses, will the Rio fans leave the arena and be like, yeah, it kind of sucks Pantoja lost, but Jose Aldo won, so all in all, it's a good night?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
Because for Pantoja, like a hardcore fan knows Pantoja and likes him because he's a nice guy. He always puts on exciting fights, but like in general, since he's nowhere near Jose Aldo as a star, so people are just they care about Jose Aldo. Of course, losing a title in Brazil sucks, but I think they would be okay because Jose Aldo won.
Okay. That's kind of how I figured it would be.
All right.
Thanks, Lazy Ben.
Thank you. Super chat now from Bobby Atkins.
Bobby, speaking of vibes, Casey, how was the gym this week after 2 big UFC wins last Saturday?
Oh, very positive. It's funny. Once you get like, it was very normal. Everyone kind of actually I didn't see Taco this week. He came in the mornings, but I didn't see him during any team training. But I did see a lot of Victor Henry this week, and he was back in there Monday, coaching, training, everything. But the vibes are just kind of, I don't know how to describe it, because everyone expects a victory, so vibes are down when someone loses, but when they win, it's just kind of like, yeah, this is what we do. So it was just kind of normal. Everyone's obviously happy for the guys. Everyone's like, hey, man, great win, great win. But then, boom, practice starts, and it's really back to normal. You really don't live off your teammates' highs that much. The interesting, though, part is, to me, we kind of broke down Taco's fight a lot and talking about how we got the victory, because we talked about Taco in the sense that Taco is not like the greatest striker. He's not the greatest grappler, but he is an excellent mixed martial artist who has a lot of experience. And we're talking about how that experience and just being a smarter mixed martial artist, having better fight IQ, won in that fight. And we were talking about how he got three takedowns in that fight. The first 2 takedowns, his opponent, I forget his last name, but Taco's opponent. Do you remember his name? I can't remember his name. But when he got up, the first time he got up, he tried to wrestled up real well, and Taco hit him with a punch. The second time Taco got a takedown, and great entries by Taco. We drilled a lot of the same entries that Taco did. But the second time, his opponent wrestled up real well, but then Taco threw a knee that knee hit him in the chest really hard. So the third takedown, his opponent I got punched on the way up, I got kneed on the way up. So this time, he actually kind of turned his back, and Taco was almost waiting for that. And as soon as the guy turned his back, boom, he jumped on his back and choked him out. So we were talking about how it sounds weird, but how you have to mix the martial arts to be successful in this game. So that was kind of our big takeaway, and from the vibes in the gym, we did kind of talk about the fights and what worked, and it just kind of more just everyone felt good because what we're doing in the gym, all those hard rounds, those pay off and work in the big fights. So yeah, hope that answers your question, Mr. Atkins.
James Lontop was the opponent, by the way.
Yeah. There you go. Thank you.
Good question.
All right.
Thanks, Bobby.
Thank you. Here's a super chat. Oh, okay. Super chat. No, well. I want to make.
Oh, shit. Okay.
Yeah, sorry.
Lost a childhood friend due to suicide, and he was a UFC fan. Wanted to shout him out and remember him in Spotlight Men's Mental Health. Eric was his name. Shout out to Eric. Michael, very sorry for your loss. Yeah, that sucks, man. It's terrible. Terrible news. And, it's good to see, in all the bad in this sport. There are a lot of fighters these days, especially now, who are really opening up about the mental health side of things and talking about the importance of it. And even people in the space in general are talking about how important that is. So I think that's something that's building and will continue to build over time. And it is very important. So shout out to you, Michael, for putting that on our radar. And yeah, very sorry for your loss, my man.
Yeah. Sorry, Michael. It sucks.
Yeah.
It's just a bad situation.
I didn't see this one coming. So
yeah. So I
light of it early. My bad.
Yeah. No.
Usually when cases reactions are like that, it's what's Achilles Jr. throwing a shot at one of us, telling us that we suck at our takes, and usually New York Rick, who will be on the post fight show, by the way. So Achilles, we'll see you then.
All right. Thank you, Michael. Kind of a random super chat here from Walsey.
Who's next for Danielle Wolf? Holy crap. I haven't heard that name in forever. I don't see how she can get to 35.
Is there anyone? Is there anyone at 45 anymore?
No.
There's no one, right? No.
I don't know. I would assume if she can't get to 35, she's not going to be in the UFC. So
She's going to be one of those ladies that are 4-5ers, but can't make 35. They're going to try to make weight and going to end up like a catch weight or something. If she fights again in the UFC, who knows? Maybe they
Chelsea Chandler, maybe? Give her like Chelsea Chandler. They do it 140 just to fill a spot.
Yeah.
Although Chelsea looked good in her last fight.
140 for girls that can't make 35.
Yeah, she could be like the short notice replacement for a fight that falls apart. Like a bantamweight fight.
Yeah, didn't expect a Danielle Wolf question. Danielle Wolf super chat question.
No. Yeah. One of the weirdest signings off the Contender Series that I can remember, because her performance on the Contender Series is not very good. And I think that was her first pro fight, as a matter of fact. And I think maybe they just tried to catch like a Holly Holm lightning in a bottle, and took her
she's
forever
not-
to even make her debut. So
Yeah,
kind of a
there's-
weird career.
Yeah,
Weird choices. Weird
I
choices.
don't have issue of saying Daniel Wolf is maybe the worst fighter they've ever signed off Contender Series. I mean, yeah. Not trying
She
to
just
trash
wasn't
her.
ready, man. She just
No.
wasn't ready. Like, where are the developmental deals? Bring those back. I miss
No,
those.
no,
What Chase Hooper signed and William Knight signed, like those types of things where they could still fight on Fight Pass whenever they want, regional fights, build that resume, build that experience. We don't do that shit anymore. It drives you crazy.
All right, got a super chat here. This is a fun one.
Fahim, how does Bilal feel watching Erceg tonight? It's so funny. Like, I think I said this probably on BTL as soon as this fight was announced. The first thing that I thought of when they announced this fight was Steve Erceg's getting a title fight before Bilal Muhammad or Merab are getting a title fight, which is nuts. It is insane. Like, we expect Merab to be next. We expect Bilal to be next, but we're not putting our houses on that by any stretch of the imagination. But then Steve Erceg, 3 fights into his UFC run, 11 months into his UFC career, is fighting for a belt before Bilal and Merab is even announced to fight for a belt. It's insane. Like, it's absolutely insane. I wonder if Bilal is like rooting for Steve Erceg and just hoping he wins, and that maybe he could build off of that. Because I don't know. It's just super weird. It's just super weird how this all plays out. Bilal's still waiting to figure out what's next. Merab figuring out probably going to fight Sean O'Malley, but Bilal just kind of seems to be like in such a weird place. But Steve Erceg could be a UFC champion before either of them fights for a title. It's insane.
It's the weirdest thing. It's just
It's so funny. It's so
Bilal's in
funny.
this position that's so weird. So weird.
Yeah.
all right. Here, let's take one from our good friend Joseph Boza.
So if you gave me 3 guesses on what fight Joseph Boza got asked about, I would have picked this one number 1. I love you, Joseph. I'm surprised Karolina Kowalkiewicz versus Yasser Lucindo isn't getting any love. Why is that? Biggest age gap in UFC history. Karolina 38, Yasmin 22. Is that true?
Yeah,
I mean, that's
think so.
that's their ages.
I think
So
16 years. Yeah, it is.
For women, for all of UFC? Because didn't Jim Miller have like oh no, it was an experience gap, not an age gap. So you're right.
Yeah.
Plus Carolina's on a 4-fight win streak. You feel like this one's like I don't know. Like, how do you feel, Guy? Like, what are the vibes like for this fight? Do you feel like it's going completely under the radar? I mean, Lucinda's a huge favorite in this fight. She's one of the bigger favorites on the card. Is that how sort of the vibes are treating it?
Nah, there's no hype around it. It's just like a random fight. If this fight got canceled, like Brazilian fans wouldn't care. Could be a good one, but there's Yasmin Lucindo is not a popular name in Brazil. Like, if you ask anyone in the arena, like you show them three pictures and ask who's Lucindo, they don't know. So it's just one of those fights like to feel car. She's a good fighter. She's a good prospect. Carolina is a veteran, but like it's flying under the radar completely.
Yeah. Casey, I like this fight. What about you?
Yeah, no, I like the fight too. But I'm kind of almost with Gui. Like, I just don't know very much about Lucindo. Obviously, I've seen her fights, but she's not like a name yet. I don't know what it is actually. But I think if you beat someone like Carolina, and Carolina obviously is past her prime, but it still looks good on your Tapology page. Right? And she's
past her prime, but yeah, she's on the road. She's like she won 4 in a row.
Yeah, 4 in a row. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think when we're talking about BTL, if Carolina wins, she's oddly like in the title picture, right?
5 in a row. She'll be tied with Zhang Wei Li for the longest win streak in the division.
Yeah, and like the way the top of the rankings are, either people are booked, injured, or like Suarez is just out, or they've already had matches of Zhang. So she's kind of right, like in a weird way. If she like gets a big win tonight, who knows, So
yeah, she could find herself in a backup role for sure.
Yeah, easily. Yeah. Or yeah, it's weird. Like she was pretty much retired, and now she's. I mean, I think it's a fight she could win. I mean, I know she's underdog, but she could win. I wouldn't be shocked. And then yeah, one fight away, and all of a sudden they like, hey, you're right there again at 38. So good on her.
What a story that would be.
Yep. Let's take it one more from Joseph Boza too.
With 301 still been a good card if the politics weren't in play between Dana White and Bilal Muhammad and Alex Pereira versus Jamal Hill happened here instead of at 300. Yeah, this would obviously be a better card if Pereira and Jamal Hill. And this would have been, look, 300 would have been fine if Max Holloway, Justin Gaethje was the main event. Like if that night ended with Max Holloway knocking out Justin Gaethje like that, people would have been saying it was the greatest event of all time. Like what an ending that would have been. And they would have been like, oh shit, then we got Alex Pereira, Jamal Hill at 301. But I mean, I'm not going to complain because we got, as Jed likes to say, Alex Pereira booped Jamal Hill, and we still got a cool moment with Pereira doing the meme thing, and you know, it kind of added to the story. But yeah, of course, this card would have been better with Pereira and Hill.
But to me, this kind of excuse me goes back to, I guess, the question about the sellability or whatever for men's flyweight. Can men's flyweight headline pay-per-views? Like truly headline pay-per-views, not like, well, technically they are, but like, oh, it's a big fight, men's flyweight. Do we just need time? Sorry.
Yeah, I think you can. I think Moreno was, you know, depending on where you put Moreno, I think Moreno was like a legit pay-per-view headliner. You know what I mean? Like Moreno and Figgy could have, I mean, they headlined one card, but they could have headlined two others. Certainly. Like it would have done okay. And it's, you know, Pantoja is so good. Like he might be the most under the radar fighter on the entire roster, and he's a friggin' champion, which is wild. True. The dude is never in a boring fight. He's so damn good. He's come into his own. He's he's fired up on the mic. He doesn't talk trash, but he's still very emotional. Like his post-fight interview after he won the belt was great. Like one of the memorable post-fight interviews, shouting out his dad. And we thought like maybe he'd get a little bit of a rub off of that. And for some reason, it just hasn't clicked. But that's not necessarily a terrible thing. You know what I mean? So yeah, I think but I think you need like Moreno. Like, do you think things would have been? Because I know we brought this up, Casey. So I'll ask you, if this was Pantoja versus Muhammad Mokaev, and Mokaev was in here like kind of talking some noise, because you know he probably wouldn't be what Steve's doing here. Do you think things would feel a little bit different if it was Mokaev, or even if it was Manel Kape? Like all bets would be off because Kape would be saying some pretty heinous shit to the Brazilian fans, I would assume.
Yeah, just 1 second. There's a lot of noise here right now, but yeah, I don't know if you guys can hear me okay. But yeah, I think like a contender that would be more vocal and promote this more than Erceg, even though Erceg got the Botafogo shirt, the greatest team ever. That definitely helped a lot in Brazil. Like people started talking about this fight after he wore the Botafogo jersey, and then Pantoja got the Flamengo one, and it went viral in Brazil, like especially in Rio. When everybody was talking about it. It was massive. So that definitely helped a lot. But I mean, there was no real trash talk there. But yeah, if you got someone talking trash to Pantoja, maybe it would have helped a lot in the lead up to this. But I don't know, man. I don't know if it would have made any difference, because fans were already disappointed because they wanted either Charles Oliveira or Alex Pereira, and just throw Pantoja in the co-main. That's fans' mindset going into this. So then when the UFC put both on UFC 300, they were like, oh, fuck it. They just don't care about this card at all. They just stacked up to 98, to 99, 300, and leave Rio with B. Like, I mean, no matter which fight which opponent you give Pantoja, is it gonna be an $80 card? You know, people are it's gonna be hard for fans in the US to pay $80 for that, even with all the trash talk and all that. So yeah, I mean, that was a tricky position the UFC put themselves in when they decided to get the two biggest stars and put on 300 instead of saving one at least for the UFC Real. But and I understand that because the pay-per-views in Brazil don't sell well in the US. They never did. The only one that did good numbers was Ronda Rousey against Beto Correia, and that's because it's Ronda Rousey. Even when they did UFC 198 in Curitiba, was on a soccer stadium, like 50,000 people. There was a heavyweight title fight Leydon and
Stipe. No,
Miocic.
Verdum and
Yeah. And there was like Anderson Silva on the card, but he just pulled out in the last minute. Vitor Belfort against Jacaré. There was a lot of big names there, and I think Shogun for there. Yeah, Shogun and Little Nugget, I think. It was a stacked card, but I don't think he did good numbers in the US still. So you either need like Ronda Rousey or a Conor or something like that to like move the needle in terms of pay-per-view sales when you're doing a show in Brazil. So the UFC would like take Pantoja and Charles Oliveira, put in 300, and sell a lot of pay-per-views, or like waste one of them in a pay-per-view event. Brazil try to use them to move the needle. It's a business decision. So I kind of understand UFC because selling tickets here, it's nothing to them as well because Brazilian currency real is worth nothing compared to the dollar. So it would never do a gate. They never announced the gates in Brazil, but I bet it's like maybe the UFC Apex there's more dollars than than a UFC Brazil event because the currency here is like nothing.
yeah, can I ask a question? Do Brazilian fans? But I've always had this kind of question about crowds outside of the states. Do they want to see, at least in the main event, do they want to see a Brazilian fighter or do they want to see a star? Like, would they rather see like, you know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah. Dana White always says, no, the Brazilians, they want to see Brazilians fighting. They always want to see Brazilians against someone else. It was asked that, I think it was back when Damian Maia fought Ryan LaFleur in a main event in Rio. And it was asked that because, and Dana was like, no, Brazilians want to see Brazilians fighting. And it was like, but we could bring someone in Brazil like he's a star. Like I remember Faber was gonna fight Frankie Edgar, I think in Singapore or something like that.
Philippines. Is it Philippines?
Philippines, yeah. Just why not bring one of those fights as a fight night headline in Brazil? I think we would do well if you have a lot of Brazilians as well on the card. Like it's okay. Like we could watch that, you know. But yeah, I think for some time I joked that the UFC should headline this with Leon Edwards against Ian Gary because he's kind of Brazilian now. that would be easier to sell.
Yeah, there was a question.
And the national anthem is playing.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I was actually asking that, or I think on our BTO, like, what if they had put Leon versus, and we're talking a lot of what if, sorry, but if they had headlined this with Leon versus Bilal, would that have been bigger in Brazil, or was this fight bigger? Pantoja versus who? Erceg.
They just wouldn't care about that fight.
Okay, no one cares.
And
no matter where in the world, they just don't care. Okay.
Yeah.
They'll care in Manchester, Casey.
Okay,
They'll
one city in the world they care. Okay.
Let me find the.
Wait, do you need to stand up for this? Or is it get the national anthem going?
I don't know why it's playing that. This is so weird. I've never seen that. It is so weird. It's so weird. Let me see. I see the first UFC Brazil event, like in 1998. We all remember Vitor Belfort and Wanderlei Silva. That was the fight that's the fight that made history and all that. Still talk to this day. But what was the main event of that card?
Oh, I have no idea.
It was Frank Shamrock and Joe Lober for the middleweight title. And no one knows that. No one's remember that.
Joe Lober.
Like,
wow.
Yeah, and like Frank Shamrock's defending his title at UFC Brazil, but we all know that Pedro Rizzo fought there, Tank Abbott, Vitor Belfort, and Wanderlei Silva. But I was talking to Marcelo Alonso, like the journalist legend here in Brazil. He was there covering, and he was like, after the Vitor fight, fans just started leaving. They just didn't care about the main event, you know. And okay, there was 1998. There was no internet and stuff
It's
like that.
Different, yeah.
I'm sure a lot of people would just leave before the main event because they just wouldn't care.
All right. Thank you. Thank
So
you.
many names have been dropped on this
Yeah, I
pre-fight
wasn't
show
expecting.
that I haven't heard in forever. That's incredible.
All right. Okay. We got a super chat from Chase. I love this super chat right now because Chase paid $1.99 for this.
I literally, in all caps, hope Bilal never gets the title shot. It's so wild. Like, this guy hasn't done, like, outside of just, not being compelling on the microphone after a fight, the
But a
man
lot of
has done
people are,
literally
yeah.
nothing wrong.
Yeah.
And the amount of hate this guy has, he's usually like pretty positive. He does talk a little trash. There are certain ways he promotes himself that are super questionable. Like, Jed brought this up on BTL. Like, someone asked like how he sees the fight with Leon playing out, and he laid it out with him winning a decision.
Yeah.
And I think people like ate that up in like such a hilarious way. But he's literally done nothing wrong outside of just win and just not be smart overall on the mic. So it's probably slowed his trajectory down slightly in terms of getting over. Like, if he was in any other promotion, he would have fought for the belt 2 years ago.
Yeah.
But it's just in the UFC. So yeah, it'd be a shame. Like, again, can you imagine if Dana White gets on Instagram and it's like, hey guys, we're going to Manchester, UFC 304, co-main event, Tom Aspinall defending against Curtis Blades, and the main event, the one you've all been waiting for, Leon Edwards defends the welterweight title against Shavkat Rakhmonov. The friggin' MMA world would lose their minds. Bilal would lose his mind. Oh my God.
And I'm sure Bilal is somewhere here in the arena already, because he's going to every pay-per-view event now, just holding his phone with any message to Leon. He's probably going to show up tonight as well with his phone.
Is he there?
Like, with a message. I'm sure he's coming. He's going to every
Okay.
pay-per-view event, so he's probably coming as well.
Well, usually I know Fight Pass. He does some stuff with Fight Pass mostly.
Yeah, but
Like his
I don't think
podcast, I think they usually do like live shows in certain areas. I don't know if they're there now,
They-
but
I don't think Brazilian police would allow him to come because the police is already in Copacabana for Madonna. If he comes, there's not enough policemen to protect another huge star in Rio.
oh my God, jeez, Bilal just catching strays left and
Dang.
right.
Sorry, man. I don't hate him.
Wow.
But I could have helped.
That was not what I was expecting, Guy. Unreal. I expect that from Jed Bashu. I don't expect that from you, Guilherme Cruz. This is unbelievable.
Oh, this is
Sorry.
Oh my God.
this is comments in reference to a super chat earlier in the show.
Madonna
Yes.
clearly running this down tonight. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, that was your answer. Yep. All right. A few more super chats real quick.
And Bilal. He comes.
And Bilal. Jeez.
Oh my
One
God.
moment.
Poor Bilal. Gustavo, will on paper Anthony Smith pull off the upset tonight? This isn't like, honestly, like, so obviously we're doing the watch party and DraftKings is a big part of it. So I do put some wagers in. I do have a like sort of a Brazilian favorite parlay that includes Vitor Petrino because he's such a big favorite. And I don't think Anthony's completely washed like a lot of other people think he is, but he's definitely on the back nine to put it lightly. But this is a fight he can win. Like, this is a fight he can win. So I would say, like, out of all of the like picks on this big favorite Brazilian parlay, this one I probably have the most pause about, if that makes sense, Guilherme. Do you kind of feel the same way that if anybody on this main card is ripe for an upset as a giant favorite, that it's Vitor Petrino?
Yeah, I agree. Because Petrino is good. He hits hard. His last fight wasn't all that incredible, but yeah, he's good. And but like I said, Anthony Smith is a veteran, and he could very well upset him, like fight smart and like take him down and just hug him for 3 rounds, or maybe fight a submission there or something. It's a winnable fight for him. I agree he's the underdog, but it's a winnable fight for him for sure.
Yeah,
But I
Vitor
don't think so.
Petrino minus 455 favorite against Anthony Smith.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like Anthony Smith has been on that back nine for years now, and he's still a legit 205er. So yeah. So I'm actually picking Anthony Smith. I'm just saying.
Oh,
But
look at you.
I'm just saying.
Okay.
All right. A couple more super chats. From our good friend Achilles Jr.
There he is. Brenner getting finished easy, I think. Besides that fight, I think Close versus Silva is a low-key banger. Yes, Close versus Silva is a good fight. Drakkar Close is just his trajectory has been super weird. I feel like this guy could win 11 fights in a row, and he's just going to keep fighting like the number 28 guy. It's just very weird. Elvis Brenner versus Mick Tebek oral by Guilherme Cruz, including the main event and the co-main event. This is my favorite fight on the entire card. This is the one that I am the most interested in. Your thoughts on, and by the way, that weigh-in video of Brenner and Charles Oliveira and the infrared sauna with him, that's just some wild shit, by the way. Your thoughts on this fight? Elvis Brenner getting Mick Tebek oral by 26-year-old studs just battling it out in the best division in the sport.
Yeah, that's going to be a fun one. I just jinxed it, but yeah, it's going to be fun. And the thing that Elvis, he always like has to dig deep to win. Like he's like there was a fight like he got to finish in the like final minute or stuff like that in the third round. He gets hit a lot, so maybe that could be an issue here. But he's more experienced than Odobai in the UFC, so I'm curious to see that one. I was surprised when they booked this one, but yeah, it's gonna be a fun one.
So good. It is such incredible matchmaking. This is the who's the dude fight on the card. And boy, Achilles, your confidence in a guy like Elvis Brenner getting finished easy, even by a savage like Mick Tebek Oralbai, that's saying something. Brenner is not a guy that gets finished easy. Guram Kutatsaladze tried his damnedest and couldn't get him out of there. And then Brenner came back and knocked him out. So, I can't wait for that fight. Cannot wait.
All right. And one more super chat from longtime commenter, Terrence Leverett.
Oh, sweet. Terrence, you the man. And then we'll get to our predictions, and then we'll get out of here. PFL starting atomweight. Took for Bellator to have women flyweight. Is Adam next? Will it happen before Jones fights Tom?
Tell me,
is he saying like the UFC adding atomweight?
I think that's what
the question is, will the UFC announce? So buy or sell? I'll start with you, Casey. Buy or sell? The UFC will announce the addition of the atomweight division before John Jones fights Tom Aspinall.
So I just don't think the UFC will ever do atomweight. I don't know quite why, but UFC is just they don't like weight classes. They don't like adding weight classes, and I don't think atomweight. I just don't think they'll do it. I think they're just gonna let PFL have that one, and one. And Ryzen can kind of take all the lady atom weights in the world. I just don't think UFC is honestly that interested in atom weight, unfortunately. I love atom weight. It's a great weight class. One of my favorite fights I've ever seen is the championship fight between Jessica Penney versus Michelle Waterson at atom weight in Invicta. It's a great weight class, but don't think the UFC is interested in it.
Key?
I agree. I don't see that one happening. There's not a massive star at atomweight that would convince the UFC to open a division just for her, like they did with Chris Cyborg in 145 that ended up dying, but Ronda. So the UFC needs that. Someone like, okay, I'm gonna have this vision because of this person. Of course, and just bring someone else, but they need one. They need one star to convince them to do a division. I think.
Is Stamp Fairtex is she strawweight or atomweight? I know it's one.
I think everything. Yeah, it's one. It's a little weird.
Yeah.
But I don't think Stamp's that person. Stamp's a great star in one. I love watching her fight, but she's not that person to be the big UFC star. I don't
think it happens. It didn't happen 2 years ago. It's not happening. The demand's gone.
Quotation of viewers. So
yeah. Yeah, the demand is just not where it was 2 years ago. I think people just kind of understood that it's just not going to happen. They're just like, okay, we'll move on.
Yeah, and actually, I don't think it's that bad because I think atomweights are doing okay in the other promotions across the world. So I don't think UFC needs it. Basically,
No,
So they're not
they
gonna
don't
do
need
it.
they don't need Atom Weight. They don't need any new division.
Yeah.
I see everyone's screaming for 165. That ain't gonna happen either. At least I don't think it happens. But
I mean, yeah, I personally do like 165. I think all the weight classes should be 10 pounds apart, not 15 pounds. But that's a whole nother issue.
Yeah, I like the idea too, but I don't think UFC is gonna do it.
But I just don't think UFC cares enough about that.
Yeah, they don't give a shit. They're making so much money. It doesn't. Why change anything?
Even though it gives UFC another belt to promote. They love belts. So.
Yeah. Well, they have to do 65, change 70 to 75.
Yeah.
And then so forth and so on. I always said the division they should add is 225. Like maybe not so much now, but like there was a time.
I wouldn't mind it. I wouldn't mind.
I like 225.
I wouldn't mind. I don't. Yeah.
Jailton Almeida would be the 225-pound champion in the UFC.
Yeah.
More than likely.
I'm so always surprised because UFC loves selling the idea of 2 weight class champions, and it's easy for them to sell that. And so I'm actually kind of surprised they haven't added like a 195, a 165, a 225, even 105. You know, in the sense that it's easier to sell double champions that way. But I don't know. They have a board and they already have their lines on it. You know, if the weight's on it, so maybe they go, well, we have a board, we can't change it.
Yep. Through that. All right.
Real quick. I just saw this. Do you know what this is about, Mike?
I haven't listened to them.
Okay.
Toke. So I do Heck of a Morning on Twitter, and usually Toke calls in and gives his thoughts. We didn't have time this week, so he left like 2 voice notes in my Instagram DMs.
Okay.
And I assume one of them is about Jose Aldo because that was sort of one of the things, but I have not listened to them yet, but I will.
Right.
I have to walk to the studio in a little while to get ready for the watch party, and I will listen to them on the walk to the studio. How about that, Toke? Appreciate you. Okay. Bonus predictions.
All right, real quick. Just because it's our good friend Achilles Jr., just real quick.
Guram is bald and overrated like GC in his picks. GC did pretty damn good at UFC 300, by the way. He had a pretty good night. Okay. Bonus predictions. Guy, we'll begin with you. Who wins bonuses tonight?
Jose Aldo, Michel Pereira, and maybe Igor. I think Michel Pereira is definitely getting one. Maybe Brenner and Orobay. Yeah, I think those would be my 4 picks.
Okay. Casey?
Michel Pereira is definitely getting one. It's gonna be
I feel like that's
just a final night. Yes, it's gonna be wild.
For performance of the night, I'm going Orobay and Michel Pereira, and for fight of the night, I'm going Jonathan Martinez and Jose Aldo.
Oh, that would be great. That'd be cool. That'd be cool. I want to pick Orobay so bad. Pereira is like the no-brainer. I think that's the chalk answer. So I will pick that one. You know where I'm going with the other one. The soon-to-be new flyweight champion, Stevie. Vinny Siggs, Erceg.
Wow.
Getting the rare KO. So let's just keep the gimmick. Let's just keep the gimmick and go with it. Because if Erceg wins, he's winning by knockout. And if he doesn't, then he's going to lose. Like, plain and simple. That's just the way I see this fight. And fight of the night, I'm going to go super off the board here. Because I do think this is going to be fun. I think Bonfim, Vince Pichel is going to be a war. I think those two are going to beat the shit out of each other. I think Bonfim's going to win, but I think people are super underestimating Vince Pichel. He's a dog.
He is a dog.
He's very tough to finish. His only losses in the UFC are like to legit dudes. Mm-hmm. So, in Mark Madsen, who no longer fights, but just kind of fought a very boring style to beat Vince. Yeah. So, I'm going to go super off the board with all of these. We'll go main card predictions real quick, and then we will get out of here. Main card begins, Guilherme Cruz with Kyle Bahalio, minus 575, takes on the always dangerous, hope to land a back flipper, Paul Craig, who comes back at plus 425. Will co-main event Kaio remain unbeaten inside the octagon, Key?
I'm expecting another Borralho decision. He's saying that he's gonna knock out Paul Craig. I don't expect that to happen. But yeah, I think he's going the distance. He's going to win.
Casey.
Get back to the apex. Get back on those co-main events. Paul Craig by decision. What are you doing on a pay-per-view? What are you doing on a pay-per-view card? What are you doing? Get back to the apex.
I got Kaio decision as well. I think the first 2.5 minutes of this fight will be electric, and I think the last 12.5 minutes will be Kaio just kind of taking Paul down and just kind of laying on him and just improving his position. And
I don't expect him to take Paul down because he's dangerous there. So I think it's gonna be like Paul Kaio, like throwing jabs and just staying away, scoring points and winning the decision.
Yeah, he's got a really good top control game. Paul's can be tricky off his back if you just stop caring, but if you just focus on top control and just using that weight to put it upon him, you can kind of keep him there. But we'll see how it all plays out. But I am with you, Guy. Kaio Borralho by decision. It seems like we're all on the Michel Pereira train. I got first round knockout for Michel. Is anybody against that? Anybody going any different? Anyone going any different finish?
First round knockout.
Yeah, for Shogun. Okay.
And he jumps out of the cage and he hugs Shogun in the crowd and said, "This is for you, Shogun."
Yes. I mean, I asked Igor for his favorite Jose Aldo moment, and he said the loss to Conor McGregor. What are you doing? What are you doing, man?
Play the villain, baby. Play that villain. All right. Featured bout, we got Vitor Petrino, minus 455 favorite to come back on Anthony Smith, the former UFC title challenger, plus 350. My official pick is, I do think it's going to be a bit of a scrap. I don't think Vitor is going to look for a lot of this fight like a minus 455 favorite, but in the end, I do think he finishes Anthony Smith. I will say TKO round 3 after a competitive 2 rounds. Guy?
That's a good one. I'm torn between that and decision, but I think Vitor wins this one.
Casey's going Anthony Smith. How does he do it?
Decision. He uses that mixed martial arts experience and gets a decision victory. 29-28.
Co-main event, we have the silence behind the violence. Jonathan Martinez coming in as a minus 142 favorite as he welcomes back the King of Rio, Jose Aldo, who comes back at plus 120. Guilherme, what is the pick, and why is it Jose Aldo?
Jose Aldo by knockout. I think. I think he stops him. I think the vibe in the arena is gonna just push him to go out.
Okay. Casey?
Aldo 30-26.
I got Aldo by decision as well. 29-28, 30-27. I'm so interested in this fight, more so on the Jonathan side, because if he wins, I just truly want to know how he does it. I really want to know, because he's not going to be able to take Jose down. If he wants to do leg kicks, he's got to lose that battle too, more than likely. I just wonder how he's going to win. And the only way I see him winning is if Jose is just weathered and just is past his prime, so much so that he's just not there. And I just don't, it's with this fight happening in Rio, I just don't see a world where he just doesn't show up tonight. So,
and Aldo seemingly making 35 once again without any major complications is a very good sign for Aldo winning too. So, which tells me that this time off, he has been in the gym. He has been strict to his diet. He has been treating himself like a high level professional fighter since he's been retired. So, that's why I'm going Aldo. This isn't,
this is a really good stylistic matchup for Jose. I really think it is. Jonathan's really good too.
Yeah, it's not the fight we wanted to see, but it is a good fight for Aldo, and in terms of a ranked opponent, rather.
He gains way more from this than Jonathan does, in my opinion, because he gets to go off to free agency with the win. Looking like a star, that just increases his free agency value. And if Jonathan wins, it's a great name to have on the resume. And when we look back on his career, and every time he fights, we're going to remember that he beat Jose Aldo. But in terms of merit and where it puts him in the title picture, I don't think this does a whole lot for him. I really don't. just because of what the way the UFC is. So, but we'll see. Very interested in that fight. As we head to the main event of the evening for the UFC flyweight title, we have Alexandre Pantoja putting his belt on the line for the second time, and will do so as the minus 185 favorite. Coming back, the unlikely challenger, Astro Boy, Vinny Siggs himself, little Steve Erceg at plus 154. Guilherme, who wins the main event? Who leaves Rio with the belt?
I'm going with Pantoja by submission, maybe third round.
Okay.
I think so.
I could see that happening. I could certainly see that happening. Casey.
I don't think he's going to stand and trade with him. I think he's going to like be smart and just take him down and work there. He eventually get him.
Yep. I could definitely see that happening. Casey?
Competitive first round, but Pantoja wins by submission round 2.
Not a competitive first round. I think Pants is going to put the boots to Astro Boy in round 1. We might even get a 10-8 from the champion in round 1. And then I don't like someone in his corner is just going to say the right thing to Steve Erceg. And then Pantoja's going to come out. He's going to look real good in round 2, and he's going to look to time a takedown. And then what's this? Beautiful, perfect sprawl from Steve Erceg. Pops right back up, lands a nice shot. Pantoja starts to think about things a little bit. Pantoja starts to get moving on the feet a little bit. He starts to land a nice shot. Pantoja counters with a nice right hand. And then right after that, he tries to shoot another one. But Vinny Siggs, so ready for this takedown attempt, lands a short little uppercut. Down goes Pantoja. Erceg jumps on top. Hammer fist, hammer fist, hammer fist. Referee stops the fight. New champion. What an upset it shall be. Vinny Siggs, Steve Erceg, the new flyweight champion of the world.
What a story. What a story.
If this goes exactly that way, then I'm done picking fights forever. Like, I'm done.
If it goes that way, you should just call Belal and tell him about a better story for next time he decides to tweet his victory against Leydon.
Oh my God. Clip this off if that happens, but watch Pantoja just submit him in 90 seconds and I just look like an idiot. And I fully admit that I will look like an idiot if I'm wrong here, but we're just playing the gimmick. The vibes are in the air. And I just think it would be hilarious to watch Steve Erceg, the sort of anti-UFC champion, becoming the champion, just moralizing the sport in such a different way. Not saying Pantoja is not that guy, because he's a great champion too, but Erceg is just at a whole nother level. And now I'm getting amped up. Now I'm so amped up for 301.
UFC 301, baby. Yeah.
Let's go. Let's go. GC and I will be watching the event. So listen, if you want to save your $80 and you want to and just have the most fun ambiance you could possibly find, nobody on this planet is going to have more fun watching this card than GC and I. So join us 9:45 p.m. Eastern on the YouTube channel. We'll have the post-fight show pretty much right after the event. Guy is going to be there, post-fight interviews, press conference, all sorts of things going up on the YouTube channel. So stick with us at MMAfighting.com for all things UFC 301. And Canelo Alvarez, he fights tonight as well. For Casey, for Guy, I am Mike Heck. Thank you for watching. Enjoy the fights, everybody. It's going to be a banger. I hope. Please be a banger.
Please.
Please.